This will light the fuse that will lead to Scotland.
Okay.
Second referendum. They'll opt for Europe over the UK. I worry about then what happens in Northern Ireland, because you already have the leadership of Sinn Féin saying, let's have a border poll, let's unify with Ireland. You know the Unionists will oppose that. So you will no longer have Great Britain. At best, you're going to have Little Britain, and that's going to be a much weaker, much poorer, much smaller, much more inward-looking country.
So you think Ireland stays in the EU, or Ireland?
Oh, Ireland definitely stays in the EU.
Because there were people saying that, you know, if they do so much trading with Great Britain, I do it with euros too, that if Great Britain ever left, maybe they'd go.
There's a strong.
What do you think? And then everybody.
Stronger connection between Ireland and the EU than there is.
Absolutely.
Well, no, I know. I'm not saying they're connected, Great Britain, but I mean they do. There's a lot of. Still a major trading partner, and Ireland's a major trading partner with us as well.
The dynamic will be in Northern Ireland.
Okay, but what about France, Italy, Portugal, Spain?
You're going to have all sorts of movements, whether it's from the far right in some countries, but Netherlands, you'll have people in the right in France calling for Brexit. This knock-on effect is very real. And look, this is, it's easy to sound melodramatic, but the European project is 3/4 of a century old, and people take its peace and prosperity for granted. They focus on all the bad things, the inefficiency, the overregulation, the democratic deficit. But this is playing with history. And people are going to look back on this, and they're going to say this was a colossal mistake. People went to the polls without understanding the full consequences of what they were setting in motion. And a lot of history is going to be divided between before and after the Brexit vote. It goes far beyond whatever gyrations happen in the market this week.
Richard, this has got to be seen as a vote against a lot of the institutions.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is against the status quo. When we hear things coming from Christine Lagarde from the IMF today, similar statements coming from the head of the WTO, we've heard statements from the Bank of England. I mean, those are all these institutions that have been set up that are probably seen in a very similar light. How should people be reacting to whether or not they have control of the situation?
Absolutely. I mean, what this is people basically saying, to use the phrase, there's a democratic deficit. These institutions are seen as inefficient, unresponsive, remote. People don't see the good that they may accomplish. They see the bad. And also, I think it's important to look at this vote at what it was to some extent. This was like a by-election. This was the thing that came down the pike. It gave people a chance to express and vent all their frustrations. And they chose this. So in some ways, the EU got scapegoated. It's a little bit in this country when everyone trashes free trade, because that becomes the vehicle, in this case TPP in our country, to vent their frustrations with globalization, with job loss, with Congress, you name it. But the problem here is that you don't go back 6 months from now and undo this.
And you heard, by the way, I don't know if you saw, even just reports overnight, people leaving who had voted to leave, saying it was a protest vote, saying that they didn't think they were actually going to leave, just saying, I wanted to be on record saying that I don't like what's going on here.
I tweeted a few minutes ago that I hope there's a poll in a month that asks the people who voted for Brexit whether they regret it, because my guess is there will be serious voters' remorse, and a significant chunk of the people who voted for Brexit wanted to send a message. They didn't want to set in motion historical trends. They simply wanted to send a message to the establishment, but they're going to get a hell of a lot more than they bargained for.
Hey CNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Here you're going to find videos packed with all of the information that you need to be smarter about your finances. You can subscribe by clicking right here and click on all the videos around me or the I right here to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.